All right, the last one. So we got some benchmarks for Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. These are all made up stats. If you hadn't figured it out, the Greek letter mu stands for mean, because I know some of you have not. I don't know what's up with you. But let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, it actually typed it. That is the Greek letter mu. And it means mean or average. Okay, it's the Greek letter mu. A couple of you haven't figured out what sigma means either. So that was trident. There we go. Sigma. I think that was trident. It's the Greek letter. It's lowercase, sigma. And it means standard deviation. So anyways, you got all these things here. What is the probability that an Algebra 1 student scored below 38? And this probability is the same as the percentile rank for a kid scoring 38. Because what we're doing here, and let's think about some stuff here. We have a mean of 48.3. We think about the bell curve. This Algebra 2 kid at 38 somewhere over here. And what I want to know is I want to know the percentage that's less than him, or maybe an area idea. So this percentage is the same as the probability. We're going to do that using normal CDF. What's going to get some of y'all is there's lots of things to look at, but this kid is not a lower boundary. He's the upper boundary, because I want to know who's worse. So he's going to go there. The next thing normal CDF is followed by is the mean, and this was an Algebra 1 kid, 48.3, and its standard deviation 8.9. It's going to probably be, I'd say 40%. No, it's going to be worse than that. One standard deviation is 8.9. So yeah, it's not going to be too hot, is it? But anyways, that number 38 is not on the bell curve. So second, vars, normal cumulative density function, -6 on the lower boundary, or 5 nines, whatever. His score is a 38. It's the upper boundary. The mean is 48.3, and the standard deviation is 8.9. And then it just presses paste. And then it gets an answer after it presses enter. Pretty low, actually, 0.1235 or 0.1236. It's about, I guess I need to write, I've noticed a lot of kids today when I was walking around struggling with rounding. How are you a junior and you don't know how to round? So it's 0.1236. It just blows my mind. Every year I get just flabbergasted by that. It's 0.1236, which is 12.36%. I know as a teacher, if I don't make these things multiple choice, you're just going to write down whatever you feel like rounding. I mean, you round like second and third graders. It's horrible. What percentage of algebra students score between a 50 and a 70? So, I don't know why I didn't do it that day. But you're trying to find the percentage of the curve right there. And the 50 is a lower bound, and 70 is upper. So if you remember us pushing buttons and doing normal CDF, you should be fine on this. And this is an Algebra 2 kid, all right? So we're going to have to use this stuff from Algebra 2. So, I don't know why I'm going to stat calc. Second vars, normal cumulative density function. 50 is the lower boundary. 70 is the upper boundary. And Algebra 2 had a mean of 53 and a standard deviation of 7.5. Paste. Good chunk of kids. 0.6437. or 64.37%. Make sure I rounded properly after ranting to y'all about it. 0.6437, yeah, 64.37%. If level 4 in Algebra 2 is 88% correct, what percentile rank for the lowest possible level 4 student in Algebra 2? There's a handful of ways of doing this, but to get level 4, you're 88% or better. So it's going to be sideways or whatnot, but that's well above average because here's the mean at 53, and 88's way over here. All right. So, and this data is not aligned with the truth, okay? Because it's going to be a teeny, teeny, tiny percentage. And I made that disclaimer. This data is not aligned with reality. Standard deviation is actually much, much bigger. The mean's probably a little too high, to be honest with you. Actually, the mean is probably quite a bit lower. It's probably around 45. But anyways, I want to know where this guy is, so I want to know everything less, okay? I want to know the smallest percentile rank. So when I go to normal CDF, the 88 is going to be the upper boundary. Second vars, remember I told you percentile rank. Your percentage is always the upper boundary. The lower boundary is negative 6 nines. 88 is an upper. And the lowest level 4 is a pretty darn high percentile rank. And that's based off this text, okay? And again, because this data is misleading, that's why I'm doing things like this. It wouldn't make sense to say 99.99, but it's on up there. It's 99.99. Geez, it just keeps going. I don't even want to round it. I don't want to round it at all. 99.39s, 84677 percentile rank. That's a lot of decimals. So we're not saying out of 100 here, we're saying out of billions. They're that good. And again, this data is not correct. It does not align with the truth. All right, good old Billy got 21% of his geometry benchmark correct. Remember Billy from the ACT and SAT thing? Yeah. What percentage of student body did better than Billy? All right, so geometry, we have a mean of 57.9, standard deviation of 6.9. Billy got a 21. And I want to know who did better than Billy. See, it says better than Billy. Well, Billy is way over here. He's going to be my lower boundary. Think about that. So all this stuff comes down to just quickly thinking about a bell curve. That's all it is. Think about the bell curve and where Billy would be. Second vars, normal cumulative density function. By the way, you can take down more notes than I give you. All right? You write down whatever it is you think you need. The upper boundary is 6 nines. Like, you should probably be writing this down. The mean is 57.6. Maybe I should be copying and pasting this to make sure you do write it down. I don't know. I know that kids don't seem to realize how they think. Pretty much everybody is better than Billy, but let me at least copy and paste that. And it's bad. I mean, everybody's better than Billy. I almost want to write everybody. But 99 point, and then we have 5 nines. What was it, 443? 433% of the population. Poor Billy. Poor Billy. All right, in the state of Tennessee, 70% of all students test level 2 or lower. There's a cool function on your calculator called inverse norm. Use it to determine what the final cut score for level 2 on this benchmark would be. Okay, so here's what I know. If I take a bell curve and level 2 which is probably close to the middle. But anyways, this is 70% of the data. 70% of all students test level 2 or lower. So 70% of the graph is right here. I want to know this level 2 cut score. That's what I want to know. So I did a little bit of this with confidence intervals. It was a bonus question on the quiz, and I really hadn't talked about it. I'm not going to because it's not in your standards, but it's kind of a cool little thing. Inverse norm gets me the cut score. Second vars, actually it's not, yeah, it's right. Second vars, inverse norm. No, I did something else on that quiz. I did a z interval. And the area is 0.7. The mean for algebra 2 is 53 and standard deviation 7.5. It's been a while since I've used inverse norm. I'm pretty sure inverse norm works with area to the left. 56.93. 56.93. Basically 57%. All right, in algebra 2, the bottom 39% of all students normally test level 1. The 40th to 69th percentile usually test level 2. Use this information, turn the range of scores to test level 2 on this benchmark. So we're going to do 2 steps here. We're going to do inverse norm, and the first thing I'll be worried about is this 39% right here. And are we still in algebra 2? We are still in algebra 2. This is based on experience. I don't actually have the actual stats, but it's based on what I've noticed over the last several years. Here the area is going to be 0.39. Everything stays the same. 50.91. Seems kind of crazy. 50.91 through, and it should be this number. We are going to change it to a 69. Just because. $56.72. So that's your interval. Scores between that. Now, the true interval, and it's changed over the years. I want to say right now it's at 23%. This is from last year. This is from 23, 24. Level 2 was from 23% all the way to 54%. That's what they called a level 2 kid. It was pretty crazy last year. Last year was just a bad year in algebra, and they adjust these scores every year. Anyways, that's your twin. I hope your test goes well. I really do, because the better it is, the happier I am. So don't be selfish. Make a good grade and study.